Tszyu versus Tszyu-Thurman is off. Tszyu versus Fundora is in. All this, much, much more on tonight's Tough Talk Tuesday.
This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me, I got Rob and James tonight. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
What's up?
All right, let's jump right into it, guys. I do want to touch on this. But I don't want to, what's the word? We don't want to harp on it and get too political. But Ryan Garcia and all of his mental issues, do you think he should be taking a mental stability type test? I don't understand because, I mean, somebody we were excited about last week, Mike Tyson, he was not a mentally stable guy. Fighters just aren't mentally stable guys. Should it matter going into this?
I think so. Mental health is a big thing. I mean, physically, it looks fine. What's going on in his head is hard to put your finger on it. And I've been watching a lot of different boxing pundits talk about him, and no one really knows, man. Some people say that it's just a big fucking farce where he's acting up a particular way to distract his opponent, and who knows? I just hope that he doesn't fall out, because if he does fall out, this doesn't look good for him, for his promoter, for the entire show. So hopefully he stays healthy and he's able to, make it to the big dance.
Right. I mean, but like I said, we've seen and heard so much in the sport of boxing that, I mean, none of this is surprising. Some of it's cringeworthy, yes, but in no way, is this surprising stuff from boxing. Rob, what was your take on Ryan Garcia's mental status? And again, should this matter? Should this matter going into the fight? You got to be a little crazy, right, to even step in the ring. I mean.
True. To be honest, all of the stuff you guys have seen and been out there, I ain't even looked at that shit. I haven't even looked at it because it's so far away from the sport of boxing. It's ridiculous. And all the stories and crap that he's come up with, it does make you a little concerned for his mental state. However, it is selling. The average person is now looking at this crap every day now. He's posting crap out here like this, and they're flocking to it by the thousands.
So you're also saying possibly planned out internet smut.
I mean,
soap opera. People
are more concerned about him getting beat by his own mental status than him actually getting whipped by Devin Haney. And that's sad.
I would agree right now. I think the main focus is on his mental state, more than the fight. That's for sure. Do you guys actually think that we're going to make it to fight night? It's gotten pretty crazy.
Yes, because with all due respect, without all of that, I'm pretty sure he's still in the gym, right? I'm pretty sure he's still training for this fight, right?
Right.
So, yeah, all of that crap that he does in between boxing and training and all of that is hoopla, okay? It's just there. It's white noise to me. I don't pay attention to it, but the average person does. So I absolutely think he's doing a part of it to sell the fight, and a part of it is because he wants to believe it. He wants to believe it all to be true, which is even more worrisome about his mental status.
I assume you're just talking about all the things he's saying. He wants all of that to be true?
He wants to believe it's true, yes. He actually believes in it and believes it's all true.
I don't know. That's a lot to believe. I'm gonna ask the same question, James. You think we make it to fight night?
I think he could. I mean, it looks like he's in great shape. The only thing is that he's managing his career, and he's not the best manager of his own career. I mean, Henry Ford was told, "You're an idiot," and he said, "Yeah, that's why I have lawyers and engineers." And this guy's running the show, and I mean, the fight with Tank Davis was ill-advised. I don't think he should ever have taken that fight. And then he asked for Haney after losing. And this is a really, really difficult match for him. Definitely not the favorite here. He's, I don't know what's going to happen there, but I'm thinking at fight time, Haney is like minus 500 or 700 or something. It's just, this could be a real ass whooping for him. He just seems to be on the wrong track. And I don't know, as far as making it to fight night, to answer your question, I hope so. I don't want to see the event sink. Like we just saw Thurman's departure from this fight. But, it's an injury. It's not a big deal. I mean, he'll be back at some point. But, I mean, if Garcia falls out of this one, there's no telling what's going to happen to his career.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm worried about. But my thing is, part of it does feel manufactured. So I don't want that. Like, I can't stomach that in the sport. I understand because of all of what he's saying, like, you have to worry somewhat about his mental status. But again, at the same time, I just feel like it don't really matter. I mean, you got to be somewhat mentally unstable in this. No sane person's going to get in the ring and risk dying. You got a dozen that die every year, maybe more, maybe a little bit less, but on average, a dozen die. And you got to be a little mentally unsound to even try this, to want to do it. But if he's manufacturing it, if this is all made up, that looks really bad on Ryan Garcia. Like, I'm all for selling a fight, but now you're kind of poking fun at mental illness, and especially in this sport where head trauma is so rampant, that's going to leave a lot of bad taste in people's mouths. Sakura, thank you for joining us. We're talking currently about Ryan Garcia's mental status. We were about ready to move on, but I did kind of want to get your take on it. Do we make it to fight night? Is it all real, or is it just something he's manufacturing to promote the fight?
You know what? I had a thought the other day, and well, first of all, hey guys. Sorry for my late appearance. I just had a thought the other day, and I'm like, damn, what if the stuff Ryan Garcia was saying is actually true?
We don't know.
And everybody's pissed off at him because he's not focused on the fight. He keeps talking about protecting children as if that's something that really he saw. So it just came in my mind, like, I mean, isn't that the American way? Like, you try to tell people some truth of what's going on in our own society, and people don't want to listen. So, I mean, the jury is still out for me on whether this is something that is manufactured or not. I don't see any benefit in him actually manufacturing something like this. Because it's publicity, yes, but it's not the right type of publicity for a fight. It's having an effect of people feeling like he's not really stable mentally enough to go through a fight. So to me, that whole scenario where it could be for some type of benefit, I just don't see it. Like, I see the opposite instead. But if it is something that's been manufactured, I'm like, damn, it's like really, really great acting. So he has the career in acting if it is fake.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a talented guy. I just but you do think it's going through, the whole fight will end up going through on 420?
Yeah, I do. I do feel like, even though, and then too, you got to look at how media works now, where they love to clickbait. So they're going to show us like him in slow motion with music behind him, looking like he's being a weirdo. And, this is our society where we want people to click on things, and we're willing to ostracize someone, sometimes warrantedly and other times not so warranted. So we got to just decide for ourselves, like when you're looking at one of these videos, you're like, so is this really real, or is this them slowing down the video, making it look like he's slow shadow boxing? You know what I'm saying? Either way it go, Derek, his coach, was looking a little frustrated.
He was like, oh God, what are we doing?
I don't think that was fake when he was just like, can we please get started?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so that part was that frustration was like on the film for sure. But I don't know if that was just like, okay, it's time to start. And you were like bullshitting, for, it's kind of hard for a coach that's not used to someone having such a social media following behind and so much money behind like every post. So you just want to train your boxer, and instead you got to be like, well, give me 10 minutes because I got to post something like, every 2 hours or something like that, to keep this business going of making money on social media. So, I can see the frustration for a coach in that, but none of us know if that is a real or manufactured Ryan Garcia we're seeing. But he's right about one thing. Sex trafficking, kids and women and immigrants, is a real topic. It is something that does warrant the focus of people more in America than it is. Because it is getting serious for a lot of people in my area, especially. And that's why we have police alerts and things like that tell us, to be careful when we pull up to a parked van, be careful when you're grocery shopping, be careful of someone touching you when they shouldn't, because it could be some drugs that they're transferring. Yeah. So this is a real topic that's going on in America, whether what he, saying he saw is real or not.
Right. Whether he saw that is irrelevant because, like you said, that's already an issue, a widespread issue. But Ryan Garcia, man, and this is coming from a conspiracy theorist, okay? I like me some conspiracy theories, but he believes in like all of them. Like, and it was just like, hey, Bigfoot's real too, by the way. Oh, I got real aliens. Like it's been all over the place. That's really my main concern. CJ,
I'm like, hey, you got an open mind.
I mean, I believe in some of that, but man, CJ says, I think Garcia is having mental problems. If he loses to Haney, I will be concerned for his well-being. He has a glazed look when he is talking. I don't know. Part of me wants to think this is almost like his gimmick. You know what I mean? Iron Mike went crazy, and he's going just, a little out there. That's all.
Yeah, but you would think that a person who is, in the fight of his life and the opportunity of his life would be a little bit more focused.
I don't know. I thought that too. But part of me thinks even Garcia knows, like, he's a little outclassed with Haney here. Maybe because and he said it before, he does not want to do this. Like, he's more of an Instagram model at this point, more than he even is a fighter. So who's to say he's not just trying to make these fights for as valuable as he can and cash out on these big ones while he can?
That is true. I mean, it is a multi-million-dollar business for his social media pages and platforms.
See that? A conspiracy about Ryan Garcia now.
Yeah, like it's like not like, Facebook sending me like $5. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about some big checks that he's getting. And it's like you got to keep that steady money coming in while you trying to go chasing this big money with this fight, Mm-hmm. Like over a long time of like 3 or 4 years, who's to say, like, is he making more money on platforms or with the fights? Like, that's a question.
For sure. All right. Earlier, James, you said that if Garcia dropped out, he may never come back. He might not be the same.
Mhm.
So we're gonna move on now to somebody that recently just dropped out of a fight. We're talking about Tszyu-Thurman.
Well, sorry about that. Give me 2 seconds. I think that there was a fighter that wanted to step in case Garcia fell out.
Right.
Oh, Shakur Stevenson.
He's ready to step in. Beautiful.
Yeah.
What a good kid.
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen.
But I mean, he threw his name in the hat, so shit.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of a Shakur Devin having a fight for sure.
Oh,
but
yeah.
he's always, like I said, Shakur's issue is that, people recognize him as probably the best in his division besides Tank, and he's avoided. Every time he gets to one division, they move up to the next. Like, most of the people in that division move up to the next, another level of division. So of course he's ready. He's like, I'll take that money, because he's chasing money fights as well. As good as he is, he didn't have a great showing in his last fight. Was that Formula One weekend, or was that?
Yep.
Yeah,
sure
like,
was
so.
in Vegas.
Yeah, so it was, it's kind of like now he needs a big fight to rejuvenate the fans' interest in him. And he also needs a bigger paycheck, because the whole time he's been fighting, he really hasn't been able to garner, like, pay-per-view fights like that, because his opponents are not that he's getting the opponents because others are not willing to sign the line for the contracts.
Well, there was another cat, and I think his name is Juan Carlos Burgos. I could be wrong on this one, but he fights at 135. So I think that his name came up recently as a replacement for Garcia. Did Garcia fall out? But I should look into that a little bit more. I'm not sure.
And Shakur said he also was available for Cepeda, that just won this past weekend.
That would be awesome.
It would be
Yeah.
Fucking war.
It would test both of them. Yeah.
I'd pay to see that.
Okay, so moving into Thurman, is he ever going to be the same? Is he ever going to be able to come back and stay? It seems like so long since we've seen him fight last.
I guess I should. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, that's an astounding no for me.
Ahead, Rob.
It's a no for me, dog. Okay, it's a no for me. He's been out of the ring 2 years now, I believe, maybe 2.5 since he last fought Barrios, and even Barrios looked better in his last fight, and we've seen him more recent than we have Tszyu-Thurman, and he lost the fight. So yeah, it's a no for me, dog. Tszyu-Thurman can't stay healthy, can't stay active, can't stay in the ring. I'm not even seeing him outside of the ring doing any commentating no more either. Man, is this guy, what is this guy doing, Shakur? He's in your home state. Did you look him up?
I mean, I actually went to the gym and saw him 2 weekends ago, and he looked freaking amazing. Like, the best shape I've ever seen him in, the most focused I've seen him in, the most determined I've ever seen him. And so I'm feeling really heartbroken for him at this point. Like, I know people are going to say, like, oh my God, he's dodging Tszyu. No, he wasn't. Like, like, who wants to dodge that type of money that they were going to pay him for that? And so much investment in marketing, so much investment in his time. This is like the third camp that he had, where the fight didn't happen. So Because at the end of last year, they were talking about him fighting the last fight of the year, and then they switched it to a Morrell fight instead. So that was another camp, and then this was a camp. So like that, this was the third time that happened to him, and my heart just breaks for him because I know he is like, what the fuck, like, like I know I would be sick. But what has been surprising to me is how non-caring and unsympathetic people are to boxers when they have these injuries, and the fact that most boxers already fight with injuries. So if you have to cancel a fight due to an injury, like, then you really got hurt. Think about that. And the thing of it is that he still had the desire to fight. So it's not like a situation where he's just like, oh yeah, money grab. No, he really wanted to perform well, and he wanted to shock people, especially when Tszyu was talking so much shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's kind of a situation where I feel for the boxer, but I'm hoping and praying for him that he's able to come back in a few months and fight the next guy that's available, because it's unfortunate when you have an injury, but it's even more unfortunate when you're like so close to the actual fight date, and you're so close to proving to people that you still got it, when you got it, but you got to have that fight date for people to know that you still are in it, and you still got it. So he was robbed of that opportunity with that injury.
Well, he certainly talked a big ball game. I was hearing his interview with Dan Rafael, and I mean, this guy is hyper, and just talking it up, and more power to him. But well, it's a shame, man, that he got injured. It really is. But looked like he was all in it.
I'm telling you, like, I had the video and I posted it on our page of him working out, and I'm talking about an hour and a half, 2 hours. He's like working out with the little beep 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 beep, and then you do another activity like nonstop. With just honed in and zoned in.
So
like,
was he training too hard though, Shakur? Do you think was he training too hard?
I don't think so, but that was a sparring session where the injury happened. So for me, I'm like, damn, y'all could have really skipped that training that day. Like, you're 2 weeks out. Like, it's time to start lightening up things a little bit. To me, if I have to be honest, I was like, why the hell is you training like that? You know what I'm saying? Why are you sparring like that so close to the fight? So that's my only aggravation with it, is like, I think it could have been avoided. You know what I'm saying? Because I'd rather get injured or be recovering from an injury when I get in the ring. Like, and I know I'm going to get paid for my time, for my training staff's time. And 3 camps, he's still been paying, people to be in these camps with him. And now there's a 3rd camp that they don't have to finish, product. They don't have the opportunity to make the fight. So yeah, I think it was a sparring session, and they were saying, the people that I spoke to say that he was looking amazing when the incident happened. So
yeah, that's a tough break. I mean, he's getting really unlucky in the sport. But yeah, Thurman, Coach Lou says Thurman is in a committed relationship with retirement. He can't shoot a shot anymore if he tries boxing before. So.
Not true.
But
come on, Coach Louis, now. Come on. Like that's another thing. I hate when people will be like, oh, you had kids and you're married, so you lost all your hunger to like fight and stuff. It's not true. Now you got kids and you got people depending on you making this money. And for you to be looking good, you don't want to leave the industry. You don't want to leave a sport where you've been a 2-time champion and you don't leave on your own terms. That's not what you want. Like, I'm gonna have to disagree with that one.
I agree, Coach Lou. I agree.
Somehow I knew that was coming.
Right. Yeah. No empathy, Rob. Right.
You know, I think all men, you know, you can't say that as a statement with the kids. I mean, I can see both sides. You can stay hungry. Some guys can. Other guys get domesticated. You know, I think Tyson said that about himself. He was like, you know, after a while, you know, that animal goes away. You start to get domesticated. You know, you like going to the spa days and stuff like that. You know, ain't that beast no more with all that frou-frou. But you know, it just depends on the guy. And maybe Thurman has been out too long. I mean, you can't be out for that long, getting that big, you know, long drawn out training camp and expect not to hurt yourself, especially when you're not letting up. Like, it's the same thing with Fury. Like, why are we sparring so late? I thought we stopped that early on, so this stuff doesn't happen, and it's still happening. It's like, stop sparring late. That tells me it's a big fight and that these guys are worried about losing, worried about getting this money.
You want to be ready, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And with so many people saying that they didn't think that he belonged with Tszyu, I mean, and the odds and everything like that, like I feel like he felt like he had something to prove.
Well, let's talk about that. Can he hang with Tszyu? I mean, this is still a jump in weight, as it's going to be for Fundora. I don't understand, why is he bringing people up 2 weight classes to fight him?
I mean, well, Keith in amateurs, it was 154. Spence was. Showtime Porter was actually middleweight, like 160.
Yeah, so was Bradley. That don't mean that's where they're supposed to be.
No, what they would do was they would drain themselves to 147 because that was where all the action was at when they began their careers. Now they don't need to do that. So to me, it's an advantage that you're not having to drain yourself during camp to make 147. And you're more in your comfortable range at the 154, division. So, I mean, and the other good thing is, like, you're not concentrating on just making weight in training camp. You know, you don't have to do that now. Now you can focus on actually what you want to do in the ring against your opponent, what your strategy is, how you want to, set up different punches, looking at their tapes. Like, so it's not necessarily a bad thing to come up to 154 when your body was originally used to that weight when you started out. Your body is now better because you don't have to drain yourself. Like, so I don't think that's a disadvantage.
Maybe. Okay, but then why Fundora? Like, we can say that about Thurman, but like it seems like both the guys in line to fight him, again, not even in the division, but they're getting title shot. Why? Make it make sense. What is Tszyu doing?
Well,
I mean, is he not one of them big guys? Fundora's 154. We're talking about.
Tszyu is 154 too. I mean, but my thing is like, you lost your last fight, but so now you get to fight you're gonna get 2 title shots. Like, right. There's 2 titles on the line now because they was already trying to give him that WBC regular belt that Charlo vacated or stripped, however you want to look at it. So that's one belt. And now you got the WBO that Tszyu has, which now the WBO is okay with putting that on the line. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, now you just lost your last fight by a tremendous knockout, and your reward is you're now in a championship fight. So
what? Well, yeah, that's again the sport of this is what it's missing. I mean, it's definitely prize fighting, that's clear, but the championship is something that's supposed to be earned. And if you're just coming off a loss, I'm sorry, get your ass to the back. That's how this should be. I mean, we should be climbing ladders. Doesn't happen.
Like we're missing somebody that actually should have been the number 2 contender, you know what I'm saying, or the number 1 contender besides Fundora, that's in 154 pounds. Yeah. So we're missing some people here that deserved it. But the problem is you got the 2 week situation where would they be? They're supposed to be in shape and ready whenever they get calls. But the reality is these boxers don't be in fight shape all the time like a Mayweather would be.
Yeah, that's fair. What were you going to say, James?
Well, there is quite a few, but I mean, it's just short notice, and you can't get that many people, to step up with short notice. Because I'm looking at a long list of 154s, and I wish Virgil Ortiz would be able to step into that spot, because I think that would be a sensational, and that's going to happen at some point. But
that's my question, though: is how hard did they really look? Because it was Thurman replacement. You know what I mean? It was not. I mean, we still got 4 weeks. I mean, I'm not saying it's a full camp, but I mean, you got some time if you're one of those guys that stay in shape, just like Sakura was saying there. If you're one of them guys that stay in shape, you got 4 weeks. That's more than enough time to prepare, I think.
Yeah,
Keith Thurman, hell, Keith Thurman was bound to happen. So yeah, they should have definitely stayed ready because Keith Thurman was in the bout.
Well, I feel like that's why they have they have done this on previous cards where they have someone in the same weight, in the same weight class that they can move up if they have to. That's what happened with Ugas. And when Pacquiao versus Spence was supposed to happen. So they've been doing this a lot, which is smart. But at the same time, it's like, come on, boxers. Now, y'all know y'all supposed to be fight ready and ready for any call that comes your way. And what we have is a lot of boxers that's not doing that. And I don't mean like be right on point at your weight class, but be in a 10-pound range. You know what I'm saying? Like keep it where it wouldn't be that much for you to go down for a fight short notice.
No. Yeah, I definitely think it's doable. Let's go to some of the comments here. CJ, I was looking forward to that fight. Tszyu needs to step out of his father's shadow. Keith was his litmus test. Brett, because they stripped Charlie of the WBC and Crawford has been mandated by the WBO to fight the winner of Tszyu versus Fundora. Leads us into our next topic, Brett. Coach Lou, the one who sells the tickets, gets the prize price. That's true. That's true. A lot of people want to say, pay-per-views for the best fighters. No, pay-per-views for the most entertaining fighters.
Or popular.
Same, yeah. It's close enough.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about that. Bud is now WBO mandatory for Tszyu-Fundora winner.
I like this. I actually like this.
Thank you.
Yeah, he was already WBO champion for the longest time at welterweight. So this is the organization that he normally deals with. And it is a policy with the sanctioning bodies that when you go up in weight and you drop a title, we're willing to let you fight as a number one contender at the next level.
Right.
At that particular weight class. So there's nothing wrong with that. And I mean, who knows? We could have an upset. We could have Fundora beating Tszyu and, the last minute replacement syndrome. And then, we could see what Bud can do with a taller, slinkier fighter that's going to have a longer reach than him. So that would be a fun fight too. Tszyu is a fun fight, but I feel like, I know what's going to happen in that with a Bud Crawford. It's like watching something that you already know the outcome, but that Fundora fight, it would just be interesting to see him against a taller, slinkier, longer reach type boxer. And that's something that Tszyu is going to have to contend with too.
So you're saying Bud's more likely to face Tszyu, but Fundora is going to be a better fight for him? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it would just be more interesting for me as a fan. I don't know which one is going to be a better fight for him. I would contend that he's looking for the one that has the bigger name, and he'll go to Australia because, Tszyu fills up arenas over there. So, that's where the money is when you fight Tszyu, even though he say he want to be in America and be bigger here too. I just feel like, if we're doing things for the money, or if we're doing things to show that, hey, I can handle you, Canelo, at 168, because it don't matter which weight class I'm in, I'm still great. This could be Bud's way of like showing like I can go up to a weight division and it's not no big deal for me, So I like the fight. I like the fact that he is gonna be like we already know whoever the winner is in this fight is gonna face Bud.
Well, that's cool because we don't see enough of Bud.
Yeah, we don't. I like Bud. And he's entertaining. He's an entertaining fighter. Even though I don't think he gets wins the popularity contest necessarily, but he is very entertaining to watch in a fight. Always has been.
I would take him either way. I mean, if he goes against Fundora, that's great. If he fights Tszyu as well, I think I'd like to see him fight Tszyu. But I really wanted to see him fight. Who I wanted to fight was Charlo. Really wanted to see him fight Jermell Charlo.
Which Jamel, the one that was the champion. Okay.
No, you make a good point, James. I wouldn't mind to see Charlo get back in this conversation to also fight the winner between this and then set up a fight with Bud. Really. Because Tszyu and Charlo have they have unfinished business. And they do. They really have unfinished business. That fight never got materialized, even though it was already booked, I thought, on paper. And then there's the injury, and then it never got rescheduled. I think he has unfinished business with Tszyu. I would love to see Tszyu fight Charlo, then fight Bud.
I mean, but how you gonna get Charlo? I mean, he's sitting on Canelo money right now. You know how that goes when these boxers get this, unreal prize money. It's hard then because we're back to that question of like being hungry or being comfortable going to Lucas's spa.
Yeah, true, but I'm pretty sure that lawsuit he got coming his way from his girlfriend, wife, or whatever she was. I'm sure that's gonna make him a lot more hungrier when he loses that.
I think that was his girlfriend's girlfriend. That's also a transgender that he got
Lord,
into it.
Oh Lord, is it that? Dang, I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah, but I think that she had filed for divorce too. Because of that incident. So it's a great time for her to do something like that if that's what her agenda was, because now he has that Canelo money. So it's kind of like, but if I'm getting a divorce, I ain't trying to make no whole bunch of extra money while I'm still married to you. And I know you still able to get half.
Right.
I mean, I'm just keeping it real. Like, I ain't about to do nothing. I might just I might stay on my granddaddy's couch for a minute or something. No, yeah. I'm just saying, like, he got other things and I don't think he's like hungry to get in the ring with Bud Crawford right now.
Nobody wants to see Bud Crawford in the ring. Everyone's afraid.
Yeah.
Okay. There's
a lot of people who would take him.
Does anybody agree or disagree about the WBO letting him go up and automatically challenge?
Agree. I agree.
You agree with it? What would you tell a fighter who's been waiting and they're mandatory and you're told, sorry, Bud's cutting the line?
Well, it's like Shakur said. He's the champion at the lower weight class. He moves up. He vacated the title to move up. He has equal rights to it.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
It's too bad he didn't stay at 147 to fight Jaron Ennis.
That's
felt
true,
like that
James.
was never gonna happen. Like, I mean, not
It
because he
really
was
should.
scared of him or anything, but
It
because
really
it's not
should.
considered what we deem a money fight right now.
It's not, but I mean, that's one I really like to see.
I mean, this is good for Bud because he's proven more by going up. So I will say that, and I think he knows he's cut himself back on time. Some of just messing around with Top Rank and their scheduling, and them not wanting to play ball with PBC, and now this whole Spence thing has put him back again. I think him going up and weight and proving himself against these guys is like a more of a hurry up thing. You know what I mean? Like these are fights that he's been waiting on that now he can maybe finally force. And good on him. He's trying to rebuild that legacy. He's trying to solidify himself as a Hall of Famer. And I'm not saying he doesn't have the talent. I think you can see the talent. The problem is he hasn't had a chance to really put it all on display.
We're talking
Well, he
about Bud
does
right
now.
now, or
You talking about Bud?
Well, he does
Buddy,
now.
well, we
against,
thought we had that moment with Spence,
yeah, against
and
Spence, he looked fantastic.
yeah,
But that
But
was it.
Spence
Because he
is a
didn't
big
really.
question mark. I mean, how many again, Spence is a good fighter, right? We've seen Bud look a lot worse. I'm not in any way saying that he was damaged goods in that fight. But if you were, would you say anything? Just like we talked about his millions, that's a huge fight. That's a bigger fight than what he's ever gotten. And we don't see him hurrying up for this rematch either. Nobody, neither side was really clamoring for it. And I think immediately, right? I mean, he went into eye surgery, so it's very, very suspect.
eye surgery. I mean, I told you, Lucas, that I was seeing things and symptoms and stuff that I didn't like. And so I understand what you're saying when you're saying, was that an actual real test for Bud facing Spence at that particular time in his career?
Right.
So I do understand that, but that was the buildup of the welterweights for so many years that fight, it was a lot of money that was generated. So it's kind of like another situation where coulda, shoulda, woulda. Like we wished it had happened earlier in at least Spence's career. But then that's what happens when you keep pushing off a big fight and pushing it off and pushing it off. Now, you never know whether someone's going to get injured or if somebody ends up losing to someone else, or whether the public moves on to one of the fighters fighting somebody else that's just as big. So it's all these things that happen when you push off fights and think you want to wait and wait and wait and marinate, when sometimes you just need to fight while both boxers are like at their prime and in their best shape.
And that's going to lead me into my next question.
Oh, really?
So if he loses against Tszyu, if he looks bad, right? Are they going to do another Canelo versus Bivol and just say, hey, he dared to be great, he's going to go back down and fight at 147?
That's a valid question, Lucas. I like that question. That is a very valid question.
Because if he goes up and he wins, now that's a fucking statement. He loses, that's a big question mark. We're saying, how really good has Bud been?
That's a valid question. It is. In my personal opinion, I think at the level that Bud is in, win, lose, or draw, then he should it's not a dare to be great moment. He just lost the fight. The better man won. I think he's proven enough to all of us that he deserves the right to move up and that it's not a tall task. And I think everybody would pick him in any one of those fights against Fundora or Tszyu, whichever man may win. I think he's still heavily favored in those fights. I think people will still predict a knockout for Bud even at the higher weight in those fights.
You think so? You over? Well, let's just say Tszyu wins. You think he would be favored still?
I still think he would be favored because like they said on the podcast, the litmus test for Tszyu was supposed to be Thurman. Really, it was supposed to be Charlo, but Charlo stepped up to fight Canelo. So now the new litmus test was supposed to be Thurman. Fundora is a tough cat. He's a tough kid that lost kind of weighed heavily on him though. And unfortunately it did. And that's taking the luster off of his name, so to speak. But I think that even against Tszyu, yeah, I think that he can do it.
Okay. I kind of agree with CJ here. Champion at 147 should fight one fight at 154 before getting a title shot. Now you're super champ, so you still got to cut the line. You're just next in line. So at least fall behind the mandatory. I think that would be nice. I'd like to see that. But
so why not fight the mandatory then? Let him fight the mandatory then.
You know what?
But the mandatory is fighting because the mandatory was Fundora now. And so when Tim and him fight, whoever wins that fight, now you still facing what was the mandatory.
Right. This is a little bit of a different situation. I just mean, overall. But this is a little bit of a different situation. I also didn't know Fundora was next in line. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well, I think that's why they had him where he was going to be fighting for the WBC vacant title anyway.
Yeah, on the same card, right?
Yeah, on the same card. He was already
to fight named Bohachuk.
Right.
Sergei Bohachuk. He may be Ukrainian. I'm not sure.
Right. So what happens to him in his fight? See, now that's another person that's gone through a camp. And if they don't have a replacement for him, he's not going to be fighting and he doesn't get paid.
Yeah.
So it has a trickle down effect on these cards. But just to say, if Fundora had that WBC title, what happened was Mendoza, when he lost, he dropped down on the rankings. So that pushed everybody else up, including Fundora.
Yeah. I'm not saying that again, Bud doesn't necessarily deserve it. It's just I do doubt myself if it's somebody at least less entertaining, less good overall. If it's just some other mandatory, I don't know if he'd be given the same even a boring champion, let's say like a Guillermo. Does he get the same treatment? Does he actually get to go up and immediately get to challenge? I don't know. I think it's sure a little bit of favoritism, a little bit of Canelo, a little bit of face of boxing, which Crawford, nobody can deny at 147. He's the face of those divisions right now. So welterweight as a whole. Junior, welterweight, and super welterweight with talks of him fighting Tszyu. But let's go to some other comments here. Brett says Errol Spence was 5 years in the making because of the games. The squad Bud had I already read that one. My bad. Bud looked ready at 154 when he fought Spence. He rehydrated bigger than ever before. All of you sounded pretty sure that Bud would win against Tszyu. Or am I reading the room wrong? I know Sakura said that. Sakura was very, very saying that Crawford's going to win that.
No, I mean, I'm just saying that I feel like that's, Tszyu is a flat-footed fighter that comes in aggressive, and that's, when you're dealing with someone with as much skill as Bud, it's like easy kill to me. Like, you're there.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll try to.
Definitely Crawford, yeah.
I would take Crawford over Tszyu.
Yeah.
Really want to see that.
I think a lot of people.
I really want to see.
I mean, Rob.
Well, who would you take with Fundora and Bud?
Bud.
Still Bud? Okay.
Oh, hell yeah. Over Fundora? Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But not more than 54. If he's up to like 160, then it gets a little questionable. But at 54, I still go with Bud. And that would be awesome if he could do a third undisputed.
Yeah, for sure. Like that might be the goal at this point.
At 54,
if he can't get the Canelo fight, yeah.
He's running out of time.
Yeah.
What were you asking, Lucas?
Rob, you agree that Bud would beat either one of those?
I think Bud beats Tszyu. I think Bud beats Fundora. I think Bud beats Charlo. I think Bud beats Mike Tyson.
Oh man.
Okay. I mean, I kind of agree that there's a dominance there for any matchup because he's very adaptable. Like in a fight, you don't just see one look from him. Like he's able to adapt to whatever you might try to do different to him, including switching orthodox to, you know, southpaw whenever he needs to, and confusing you when you do think you're in a groove. And then you got just the killer instinct that's gonna, at some point, if he feels like you're hurt, you're done. Like it's really not, it's a stoppage, you know what I'm saying? One way or the other. So I do think like that's a dominant player in whatever division he's in. What Brett said?
Brett says Zeus sits down on his punches, flat-footed. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
there's a fine line there.
He's a puncher.
For sure.
He's a hard puncher.
Yeah, the problem is Bud has the speed enough to hurt you if you're waiting to,
The speed is going to kill the power is what you basically think. Brett is right to me because you don't land powerful punches if you're not planted properly with your footing. And he does come forward and he's flat-footed as he comes in. Like I always wanted to see Tszyu look more, have a little bit more ring generalship as far as footwork and things like that, instead of just, moving forward at all costs. Right now, he's doing that because none of his opponents really that he's faced were like huge punchers. Mendoza probably would have been the closest to that. And we saw like him be able to hurt him before he could hurt Tszyu. So, but we haven't seen him in there with someone that actually has the possibility of hurting him, and how that might affect how much aggressiveness he shows throughout a fight.
How come nobody's mad about the fact that he is stepping in the ring against a fighter who lost to a fighter he beat?
Well, because people feel like styles make fights, and just because Fundora and the punch, honestly, just to take up for him for a minute, the punch that Mendoza landed was something he didn't see. So it's always a situation where it's the punch you don't see that hurts you the worst, because you're not swinging your head with the movement of the punch, or you're not able to just sturdy yourself for that punch. So I mean, it could have been more like a lucky punch for him. No shade to Mendoza. But then when Mendoza goes and fights Tszyu and he's not able to produce the same type of outcome, then it does look more like Fundora just, was unlucky that night and got caught with something that he just didn't see. Not to say, you think he was out for almost a year and he's not learned from that experience and watched that tape like freaking a million times? Of course, he's like learned a great deal from that loss, more than he would have from a win. So I don't think he will see the same Fundora.
Fundora was going out, and he just, he ran into that knockout, but his career was fantastic. He was coming along super good, and he was, people were talking about how he could, move up through all the different classes above him, and potentially make it to like heavyweight or whatever, because he's got that height. And so there was a lot of talk about him, and he just stumbled a little bit, but I think he'll find his way back, and hopefully
it's something to be said, James.
Hey,
when you say,
I gotta say, it's a good thing that he took this fight. He took a hard fight here. He didn't have to do it. he took a hard fight because he's got, like you said, the person who beat him is he's fighting that person. In other words, he's fighting, the guy who beat Brian Mendoza, who beat him.
Mhm.
So
Right.
Mendoza's still on that card, by the way. He's fighting Bohachuk. So
Okay.
it all works out. But
Yeah.
he took a hard fight. So I'm really happy for him that he's back in it, and hopefully he shows well.
And it just goes to show that people shouldn't be saying like when you have one loss and they just write off everything great that you did. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that fans need to stop really doing.
You're right, Shakur. I'm one of those people.
You are. It's the Floyd effect. He made so much emphasis on that 0, and that's something he really drove home, and he drove it into the sport of boxing. It has its good days, and it has its meaning. It definitely has its downside, which, like you said, when you lose, people kind of give up on you. But
yeah, I mean, one loss should not define your whole career.
No,
You know,
especially in instances where you're trying to reach out, trying to take fights that are risky. Anybody can play it safe in this sport. It's good to see people challenge themselves and actually, try to accomplish something rather than taking the easy road all the time.
exactly.
Speaking of, let's talk Canelo, because I'm about out, and then Rob, I'm gonna let you do some rapid fire. I'm sure you got something. But Canelo-Munguia seems like full presser now. They're doing their tour. Guys, 1, is this a sellable fight? 2, for hardcore boxing critics, is this going to be something that's going to interest them? I want to hear from you guys.
Big time. It's a big fight.
Yes.
It's a big fight. This will sell out. It'll sell tons of pay-per-view.
And you like Munguia's chances?
That's a hard call. You have to ask. No, the idea is that I think he's outgunned here. Canelo's just got him on experience, and but you know what, Munguia, it's time. It's time for Munguia to finally get that fight because he's got this insane record, but he really doesn't have that many names on his resume. He's been groomed long enough. It's time for him to take the training wheels off. And it looks like he did it against Ryder, but it's just time. As much as we want to see Benavidez, this fight is big for Munguia. So I hope he can post a good 7-5 or 6-6 or whatever and fight the way Bivol did, because that's a really, really good game plan there. And if he can follow up on that, he's going to do well. He's strong, he's young, he's fit, he's aggressive. So I want to see Munguia win. Because I'm a hater.
Well,
I for one, I know anybody watches the shows and be like, oh, here it comes, the Canelo basher. I think this is a good fight. I mean, you have Munguia, who's actually at the weight. That's already half the battle with Canelo, right? I always mention these people not his weight. This is a true super middle, so I got no problems with this fight whatsoever. I do like it on paper. We, like you said, James, we just got to see him annihilate a same opponent as Canelo, kind of builds it towards there. And I for one think that Munguia's chances are rather well. I'd say this is almost a 50-50 fight for me.
It's close to it, yeah.
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah, you guys said it best with Munguia. He has the age going for him. He's definitely at the prime, at the right prime age. He's got the trainer now going for him, as we saw, as you guys alluded to in his last fight. That worked out really well for him in his last fight. So he's got the right trainer behind him now. He's got his promotional company finally pushing him out there to get a big time fight like this. So he's got everything on his side to be a challenge for Canelo. In terms of Canelo, I would say this. It's not going to be easy that night, Canelo. This time. It's not going to be easy. With Bivol, Bivol just frustrated you beyond belief, but he held back on the power. Munguia was looking to make a name for himself. He's not holding back that power this time, buddy. So it's definitely going to be not easy for Canelo. He's going to get hit. He's going to get hit with some hard shots. It's whether he's a better boxer than Munguia, because he's the one that has the experience in this fight. That being said, yeah, I think it's going to be a great bout. Lucas, I'm interested in knowing if you're going to pay for this fight. And just the last touch about it, if you guys seen Munguia at the press conference, boy, that outfit was ugly as shit.
Hey, you don't have to like the guy's style.
That hair piece too, boy. The hair in the outfit, it was terrible.
Did you say a hair piece? I mean, let's go back to. No, you didn't. Say the man wearing a toupee.
It looked like it. I mean, it wasn't, I guess, but it.
The way he combs his hair, it kind of looks a little funky, like
yes.
Something weird. I don't know what you call it, but it looks a little frumpy.
Well, I'm a huge Munguia fan, and I've always followed him since his first championship, where it just seemed like he came from out of nowhere. Nevada said, no, you can't fight Triple G. Then they let him fight in New York, a way smaller Ali, for the title that he had just won from Cotto. So I've always followed his career since then, and I just always was like, damn, that's a big guy. That's a big boxer right there. Like, that body was made for boxing.
Well, he's taller than Canelo.
Yeah, I saw the face-off today, and I'm like, what do you think? Like, when you look at these two, do you see a huge advantage, or do you see to me, Canelo looked more buff and more beefy.
Did you notice those shoes Canelo was wearing?
No, I wasn't looking at their shoes, James. Hello. This is eye candy for me as a boxing girl. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the specimens.
He was wearing some platforms. I mean, there was like that much heel on him.
Oh, so you saying he was trying to make himself look like he was
a
little less shorter than he actually is.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, those shoes look like, I don't know, it's pretty obvious.
A thick sole, huh?
Pretty obvious. Oh, yeah.
Well, some guys do that. They want to put a little height on them, and so they only wear shoes with, the big, thick soles. I ain't mad at Canelo for that. I just looked at the two of them, and I'm like, yeah, Munguia looks a little imposing in this face-off. Like, he looked like, yeah, I'm all in, dude. But he still got this baby face, and it just makes you go back to when Canelo fought Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, that's what it reminded me of. Like, oh shit, this is like a new changing of the guard, possibly. Like, is he the next cash cow? Like, these are all thoughts that were coming in my head, during the face-off. Because we all know that Canelo is not going to keep being around for too much longer.
Right.
And we also know that he learned a great deal from Mayweather when he fought him. And so this could be the same type scenario where even if Munguia doesn't win, he learns a great deal, and he's transferring all those fans to being Munguia fans. So to me, it's a win-win for Munguia regardless. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But you guys tell me if you saw that, because all of that was in my mind. I was getting hype.
Brett says Cambosos was also wearing platform shoes, and the face off was low. We couldn't stop laughing at him like King Kong in the face of danger.
Oh, shit.
One thing I think about is that I'm just hoping that they look at the blueprint that Dimitri Bivol set to fight Canelo, And if they can borrow from that blueprint and kind of fight that same style where he's, fighting at distance and then close up and all those same techniques that Dimitri Bivol incorporated, I would love to see that. And he's got a good coach too. So hopefully they're studying some of that film, some of that Bivol film. And
that would be
deliver a
amazing.
good fight.
That was a straight dog walk, and Canelo didn't know what to do. If there's definitely a blueprint to follow, you're right, James. It would be that one for sure.
The bigger guy, Munguia was also the bigger guy
Well,
in there with Canelo as well. So it would be. Go ahead.
He's sorry about that. He's got the frame that Bivol's got.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, they're about the same height and same everything in a sense that reach and all that. It's very similar. So hopefully,
I understand, James, but he got Freddie Roach in his corner now, and you already know, like, he's about that damn banging. Like he likes to, have people boxers do like set up for big punches. You know what I'm saying? Like
Freddie's not a defensive fighter. Yeah,
right. Yeah, like he's not gonna be into the nuances of things. He's gonna be about like, we need to cause some damage in this fight. Like,
because Eric Morales, his ex-coach,
right,
was saying that they're it's a perfect match because of the style and because of the aggressiveness of Munguia.
I agree. I think you're going to have a banger. I mean, this is going to be a banger no matter how you do it.
Canelo cannot let Munguia look totally better than him in this fight, because that's another Mexican. And like I said, it's another opportunity for somebody to take his crown. So Canelo, he has to look efficient in there. He has to look like he's still young and not, and crisp. He can't be in there looking like the aged boxer of the two of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not going to be a good look for him. And it's not going to make people be anticipating his next fight. So it's like he cannot let Munguia or allow Munguia to look better than him in there. That's how I feel.
Well, we're all anticipating Canelo's next fight because it's a good chance that he wins this. And at that point, it's like, okay, you can't hide any further. It's all about
it.
And get it on in September. No more running, no more bullshit, no more, picking all these opponents that he can, easily destroy. It's time. It's hot time, as they say.
I don't want to say like I do have faith in Canelo, but I think Berlanga's next no matter what.
Me too, Lucas. I'm like, they gonna still put that Berlanga fight in there regardless. Like he didn't get it in the order that he wanted it, but I mean that's still something him and Eddie Hearns have planned out.
But I think that's stepping down from the level of competition.
I'm with James. Fortunately, I think Benavidez knows it's not going to happen because that's why he's moving to 175. So I just think that it's difficult to make that happen now at the weight Canelo's going to want it to be at.
92% payout purse to 8%, and if he don't take that, he ain't going to fight. That he priced himself all the way out. He basically said he ain't doing it. So yeah, what else are you gonna do? You gotta move on.
Well, the other thing
is insane not to take that.
The other thing is that if Benavidez wins his fight against the Nail Gavasik, then he might end up fighting the winner of Benavidez versus Bivol, or the loser. It's going to be a great fight.
I mean, I see what you're saying, where he could go back up to 175 again, but being that Canelo didn't have a great showing at 175, I doubt if he wants to venture back up there again.
No, I'm saying Benavidez.
Benavidez, that's a whole different story. Like, he could go to cruiserweight, he could go to heavyweight. Damn it. He got a wealth of opportunities that are still available to him with his size alone.
What I'm saying
and he's getting bigger and bigger in popularity, So I don't see any problems for him continuing his career. My thing is, if it was going to happen with Benavidez, I feel like it would have already happened. Like, you've been under the same umbrella with PBC for what, like a year now? like if that fight was going to happen, I feel like they would have already made it at this point.
Chasing Canelo, though, you know how it goes. Look at Andre. You know, they all do it. They're chasing that lottery ticket. What are you going to say, James?
Well, I was going to say that we have Bivol versus Better BF coming up, and that's World War III. And if Benavidez takes the winner of that, that's going to be awesome. It'll be a good thing for Benavidez. That's at 175. He's at home at 175.
I can't wait for that. That's going to be one of the better fights of this year. This is most anticipated for me for quite a long time. Rob, I think I'm handing over the keys to you. This is a segment called Rob's Rapid Fire.
It is, but I don't have nothing today.
You don't?
No way.
Although I do, I'll pull something out of the hat. But I don't know if you want to do it or not, because it's something that I have done before. And I feel like this would be in honor of March Madness people.
Okay.
I'm with the brackets. We liked the brackets, didn't we?
So this time I want to do it differently, though. This time we're not doing division for division. This time we're doing the pound for pound list.
I don't understand how this is going to work out.
Okay. Like, I'm trying to think too, Lucas. Like, what is you trying to bait us into?
So I'm just going to take the top 6 fighters and rank them out in order. And the number 1 fighter is Terrence Crawford. Okay. That's the number 1 pound for pound. This is ESPN's list. So don't kill me, people. That's who I go by. Okay. So Terrence Crawford at the number 1 seed would take on the number 6 seed.
It definitely is, Brett. It definitely is.
Which is Devin Haney. Okay. And then we have the monster is the number 2.
Which one?
Innuendo.
Okay.
Innuendo. And he would be fighting Dimitri Bivol. Which is a weird,
for pound.
Which is a weird stylistic matchup. But yes, this is all pound for pound. Then you would have Usyk versus Canelo.
That's at least closer to possible.
That could be possible. And then to even it out, I'll throw one more in there. We'll throw Gervonta Tank Davis versus Shakur Stevenson.
I would love to see that for real.
Yes.
That's a dream fight for me.
So let's start out with this first fight. You got Terrence Crawford versus Devin Haney. Go around the room. Remember how we do this.
I'm going to say Bud.
James?
Bud.
I'll go with Bud over Haney.
Shakur?
In a barn burner.
Yeah, Bud for sure.
I'm going with Crawford as well.
Unanimous.
So we just got rid of Haney. That basically is what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay. So
Innuendo, the monster versus Bivol. Now, hear me out, because I know people are going to be thinking about the weights. I don't want y'all thinking about the weights. Think about Monster's run, and then think about Bivol's run.
You can't tell us what to think about, man. it's our pound for pound. How we see our pound for pound.
Don't think about weight. That's all I'm
telling
saying.
you, like, that's wrong for you to tell us what to think about.
Like,
there's a lot of things I'm thinking about when you say pound for pound.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The weight is rough on this one because it's just you can't even fathom them fighting each other.
Weight.
You can't fathom them fighting each other. One's 122.
I mean, but it's pound for pound, so that's as if everybody was the same weight
The
class.
same. Thank you.
Yeah, then they still had all their attributes.
I know. I'm
So
trying here.
I can hang.
I'm trying to.
I mean, I just still don't know how good Inoue is because of his competition. I know it's high level. I kind of put him in the same class with Lomachenko. But I would just say, I think I would go with Inoue. Because Bivol, well, I would know more after Bivol fights Beterbiev. Because Bivol's competition, besides Canelo, does anybody remember some of his fights before?
Zurdo Ramirez.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty slick. I mean he's outboxed a lot of people and is clean. It may not be entertaining to the eye, but
didn't he beat Joe Smith Jr. in there as well?
Yeah.
It's the competition. Like I feel like he's finally gonna get real competition when he fights Bivol. So I can assess him better there. But anyway, them skills is them skills, no matter which weight class you're in. And then I just saw how he made Fulton look like he was just an average boxer.
Right.
That still sticks out in my mind, how he could probably make a really skilled boxer look average. So I'm going with Inoue.
Same here. I'll tell you why, because he's tough. When he fought Donaire in that first fight, he had a cracked orbital bone and I think a broken nose or a broken jaw or something. It was bad. He took a lot of damage early in that fight, but still won and delivered, the fight of his life. And he's only gotten better and better. And I love Bivol, but on this one, I'm going to have to take Inoue.
Lucas?
This was really hard for me. Can I say draw? I mean, is that possible? I have to pick because
we have to move one on.
You think it's no evenly yoked, is what you're saying. They're evenly yoked to you.
I'll just say, for this one, you have to move on. There are no draws, so we're going to add in an extra round.
It's not going to matter. It's not even going to matter what I'm going to say because you're probably also leaning in that direction with Inoue, correct? So unless you say Inoue, my vote don't matter no matter what.
Why would you say that when he don't like 130-pound boxers? Like underneath 130.
I like Bivol.
See?
Damn it, now I do have to pick. I don't know. I gotta lean to Inoue, even though I think it's pretty much a 50-50 thing here. And simply for the same reason Sakura was saying, it's just pretty much better resume at this current point in time. Bivol wins against Beterbiev and makes him look just like he made Canelo look. Then I'm flipping those real quick. So Sakura, you're definitely on point what you said there.
Thank you so much, sir.
Our panel of fans went Inoue as well.
Yeah, it seems everybody's in a way, right?
It makes sense. It makes sense because Bivol is 22-0. He's got 11 knockouts. Inoue is 26-0. He's got 23 knockouts.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
That's true, and he has that fight with Neri coming up too.
He sure does.
That's the same weekend as Canelo-Munguia, except it's a Monday morning.
Oh, not one of those again.
In Japan.
I don't like that.
You know what, Lucas? I might take mine back because if it's in Japan, then I'll go in anyway. If it's in Japan, I'll go anyway. All right, guys. Usyk, Canelo.
Usyk. Stylistically, Usyk reminds me of Bivol a little bit. And just on how they fight, I gotta go Usyk.
Sakura James, which don't jump at it at once.
Go ahead, Sakura.
I would have to go with Usyk as well. We pretty much saw that party with the Bivol Canelo matchup. We saw how that would go, and Canelo was pretty damn tough, but at a certain point, we saw Usyk fight somebody like a Chisora, somebody that's tough. He's a little older, but somebody that has that same type of grit. And we saw the outcomes of that, like, you know, the skill and the set up, the traps and things were still like so polished that I would see Usyk winning that.
James?
Well, I have to go with my countrymen here. So, sorry, I'm going to go with Usyk.
Well,
I'm half Ukrainian.
Well,
I didn't know that. I had no idea.
No losses on his record. He's clean, and Canelo's got a couple. So I got to say that Usyk is pound for pound better than Canelo, although Canelo ranks really high. That's a tough one. That's a tough call, but I still. Plus, I'm a hater, so I got to go with Usyk.
I had Canelo.
Me too.
You had Canelo?
I had Canelo. All right, the big one: Gervonta Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I love this fight, and I wish it was a real, bona fide, mega fight. I think the numbers would be insane for this fight.
That one's rough.
Yeah.
Rough.
Well, I'll start out because y'all all know who I'm gonna pick. Anybody, all y'all answer for me. Who am I gonna pick?
He's picking Tank. Yeah.
Yeah, we know Tank.
Tank.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm actually leaning towards Stevenson at this current point in juncture. Just Tank. You know, Stevenson's better than a Romero. Romero was kind of outboxed him. He's been outboxed before. It's just Tank eventually gets there and can stop him. I don't know if he's gonna be able to catch Shakur good enough. Shakur is a very good defensive fighter. I think I'm leaning towards Shakur on a very close, probably picking himself up off the canvas, maybe multiple times, to a very close majority decision.
Damn, you just changed my mind now, because I'm like, ain't no getting up from no Tank punch. Like, there is no getting up. There is no knockdown per se. It's more like your lights are out, dog. But Shakur does have that amazing defensive prowess about him. So, I mean, he does reduce the amount of punches all of his opponents have been able to land. And we're talking about, you know, what are they calling it? Copy box records being broke on keeping people real honest. I don't think that Tank will be respecting Shakur as far as power, though. Tank is Tank for a reason. That nickname is because that chin is marvelous. So I don't see him Shakur winning that way. And it's just a situation where will Tank catch him or not? I think Tank is skilled enough to be able to catch him at some point. I really do. And the showing, Shakur's last showing was not like that. He didn't have a lot of output either, to be honest. So Tank could just like literally rack up points on him from just throwing more. And I'm going with Tank.
Damn.
James.
Man, you know
what? On you, James.
If we don't see this fight in 2024, especially if Stevenson beats William Zepeda, which I think he could, but that would be a tough fight in itself. But if we don't see Tank and Shakur fight this year, something's wrong.
Well, at least early 2025, I'd say.
Possibly, yeah, but it's gotta happen. The boxing gods gotta give us this fight. It's a must. Especially with Haney having moved out of that division up into 140. 135 is loaded. But
Well, I say it used to be loaded, but most of those guys have started moving to 140 now.
well, you still got Loma in there, so it's a shame that Teo also moved up, but that's just the way it is. But I mean, as far as Tank Shakur, man, all I need right now is a coin just to flip it. I don't know.
It's a real.
I had to do it. You got it.
140 or 135.
We need it, James. We need your pick. I'm trying to make time, and we only got a minute left.
This is 135. So I'm gonna go with Tank.
Hey, Tank won. All right. Final four, y'all. Finally, the final four. Terrence Crawford, Inoue, Usyk versus Tank. So let's go with Terrence Crawford, Inoue.
Are the fans still with us? Are they still putting in there?
CJ Hooker gave us his final four.
Yeah, his final four for pound is Bud, Inoue, Usyk, and Stevenson.
Oh, he went with Stevenson. Okay, cool.
Shakur
has issues. Okay.
Totally agree with that.
Upcoming fighters.
Jason Santana, 115, 6-0, 6 knockouts out of Tampa.
What's up, Tampa?
Yep.
All right. So
okay. Maybe we should save this. We should have it where it was continued to next Tuesday.
We can do that. You want to continue the final for the next Tuesday, Lucas?
Okay. Yeah.
The tournament will still be going on.
That'll give me more time to figure out what the hell you're really up to.
That'll work.
Well, you always have some moral ground that you want to get to with these outcomes. Or is it size doesn't matter, or is it 130 pound ain't shit? Like what is it you're trying to get to?
I'm just trying to make a rapid fire in honor of our beloved sport of basketball.
College basketball, that's where it's at.
So again, people, tune in next week. The final four for y'all to be thinking about. You have Terrence Crawford versus the Monster. You have Usyk versus Gervonta Tank Davis. So be prepared with your picks next week and tell us why.
I think the Bud anyway would actually that one's got me thinking I don't know what the hell would happen in that fight.
Oh, man. All of those would just be so hard to fathom. And all would be close fights, all pound for pound. The good news is he named a couple of fights that are actually possible to happen.
True.
So if we can see a pound for pound, we can see a pound for pound king legitimately and earned it. And I would love to see that. I hope we as fans get to see it. It would definitely be good for boxing, and boxing definitely needs a pick-me-up right about now. Thank you all for tuning in and watching and, giving us your picks. But definitely check us out again next Tuesday, where we will continue this on Rob's Rapid Fire towards the end of the show. But Tough Talk Tuesday airs every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. As always, we don't pull any punches, and we'll see you again next week. Have a good night.